I got that CMOS, baby, call me a CMOS, baby. Do that body good like CMOS, baby. I'm a leader, I'ma take you to the treetop, baby. I care about your health, did you hydrate lately? I got that CMOS, baby, call me a CMOS, baby. Do that body good like CMOS, baby.
We gonna get this started, man, because look, we didn't already been cooking. We didn't already been cooking since the beginning of this conversation before y'all even saw. But you know, I'm with a good brother right here, Menhuam. Did I pronounce that right?
It's Menhuam. Yeah.
Menhuam.
Menhuam.
And that almost sounds like men who aim. You know what I'm
it
saying?
is. I intentionally say it like that, but phonetically, it's actually like Menhuam and or Menhuam. But as we know, the commissions didn't really use vowels, and the vowels are put in there in deciphering the Metunetter, you know, to make it sound round to us. But actually, with no words, with no vowels in my name, it's actually, you ready? And because we put a lot of emphasis on speaking and speech. So my name is actually not even spoken. That's my name. So Menhuam is the English interpretation, but vibrationally, it goes beyond speech.
Hey.
And it means one who is fixed or steadfast on a divine authoritative utterance of God's speech. So my name is actually not even an uttered name. It's a gesture, an acknowledgement of the Most High. So I have to say, I've never put that on wax for that. That's for the record.
That's for the record. And here we are at the Verbal Apothecary. My name is God, and I got a good brother here with us. And you know what we do here? We do herbals and the verbals. My appreciation of hip hop and my appreciation of the herbs, the health and wellness married together. And this is what we have. We celebrating the 10th element of hip hop, which is health and wellness, because you can't do any of the other elements without it, right?
Indeed.
Would you agree?
Most definitely, health has got to be in the mix.
And I want to ask you, brother, like, what is health and wellness to you?
Wonderful question. First of all, I'd just like to just say hi to everybody. I explained my name, but I just want to say peace and love. Salam, 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 salama. You know, blessings. Hotep, hetep. These are gestures of peace that I want to just send to all the listeners out there. And I start like that because really we're talking about fundamental things, setting the tone, setting the vibration of how you exist on your day-to-day. It's like, you know, how you answer the phone, how you respond to people when they call you your name, how you know, your well-being is every moment. So health and wellness for me is definitely the vibration and temperament that you're able to carry most of the time throughout your day, and that being on the healthy side, positive and clear, tempered and balanced. But it's definitely being able to define your reality and be able to prescribe healthy measures to create homeostasis, balance. Balance is the key. Ma'at.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was building with a brother, and he had said, you know, our vision is too myopic, so we miss. He was talking about some of the things that we miss in terms of just the wool that gets pulled over our eyes from the macro and interpersonally, how we play each other, and we just get too myopic. I was like, so what you really saying is that we need to be more myotic than myopic. You know what I was saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It's because we are living in a kind of secularized realities, compartmentalized, reductionized realities all around us, and we are never being given the whole picture,
right?
All the pieces to the puzzle. So that's a matter of health and mental health as well, because then why you know running around in circles, having all these mental problems that lead to physical problems. It's because you don't really see the whole picture. If you knew the essence of life when you were first born, then you'd be like, well, I'll get there. You wouldn't be so pressed to feel like your life needs to happen because this is going on or that's going on. You would know, like an animal, where to go get water, where to go get food. In terms of your fundamental essentials in your life, your purpose.
That's real, and I like how you broke down the connections. Life is about connections, right? Because we're not islands. We are not existing in a vacuum, and so your anxiousness can bleed into these other places. So how you said treat each moment with a special reverence. It's that intention that bleeds over into these other interactions, and you're able to hold peace within. And so that leads me to think about, like, how do you participate in spreading light in this world? Like, I know every time I've talked to you, brother, it's been long conversations of just like we building, like really layers of each time that we met. It's like, yeah, we're going a little bit further. We talk about how our cities should be structured in order to provide the best vibration for our families and our health and wellness. We talked about food. We talked about sovereignty. We talked about, the ancient Kemetic science. So how do you filter all of these things into what you do, and talk a little bit about how you spread your light in this world, brother?
Well, I think as the teachings of the ancients remind us, we have to first step into self-realization. I always tell people, I say, touch yourself. You're here now. Your life's happening. So become aware of that. I mean, on as many levels as you can. Your self-awareness is your survival, your ability to anticipate things that you can't even see. And so that's very key in navigating in your life. Self-awareness. So that's the first step. And then the second step, or self-realization, is the first step. Realizing you're here, you got purpose, all of these things. Hey, I got powers, I can do stuff, my mind, whatever, But then the next step is to actually seek the light. And light improves everything. Your ability to know, to understand, to comprehend, and to actually bring everything into one singular thought. Because that is the essence of life itself. And so what you're trying to do is reconnect back with that most of the time. So your light is not necessarily what you see. And see, there's many rays, right? Gamma, micro, radio, waves. Light is a wave. Think about it, electrically speaking. That's why I say, with all these laws that we speak about in terms of the Kemetic laws, the vibration is very key. Oh, so very important. Vibration is sound. And see, sound is like, that's it. That's everything. So you want to be focused on improvement, light, being clean. Cleanliness is godliness, as they say. And nobody is freed up from a little dirty. Everybody got some nooks and crannies of dirty, So we got to tend to ourselves. Change our diapers, if you will, because we're all babies still, and we be taking a bunch of bobos and peeing on things and people, and hopefully not people, but crazy stuff. But losing our minds, you know what I'm saying, and not, having a rational sense of living life and being civil and having balance. But the light is better than the dark. But the dark is not necessarily bad in itself if you can get through it. So sometimes people need a little darkness training. There is darkness training in the world.
Darkness training.
Darkness training.
When you speak on that, is this the dark literally training, like when they say the wicked never rest, or do you mean dark as in sensory deprivation, tuning yourself within darkness?
That.
Okay.
Yeah. But both, actually both. Let's say both. Let's just say both. But I really wanted to emphasize the darkness training of shamans, that they do go through periods of darkness, and they sit in the dark for hella long, and to be with themselves beyond this. You know what I mean? So, but saying that, God, Jesus, people in the books, they had favor on criminals and people who messed up. They were forgiving, because that law of forgiveness is a universal law. It's grace. It is the curve of life, of justice, the arc of life. It's truly what is in life that people hide and put in secrets. It's just the curve of life, the wave. There's no up and down. There's in between. You know what I mean? And so, there's up and down, but the in between is what's happening. You know what I'm saying? The balance.
Right. And I find myself saying that a lot, in the world that we're in. There's a lot of divisiveness, and we see that as of late, that divisiveness has been like capitalized for distraction. I think distraction in the sense of, okay, we got people aware at a higher level because of the access of information. So we have to up the gambit on what we distract them with and how often, because if we don't, there's a risk of a upheaval. I mean, George Floyd, I think, was a very key moment because the world was in unison, and it showed the heart of the world in a sense, because that video was undeniably inhumane, and people responded to it. And so I think those type of things, the powers that be don't want to see that happen too often, where the world is in unison on something that is not in alignment with their status quo,
Well, I hear what you're saying about the event. Few circles I've, been interacting with have come up with some other ideas about what happened with George Floyd, because some things around him and just the backdrop, but in
there's
terms
nuance. There's always nuance.
yeah, because then that some could say it was a high ritual, a very high ritual that was being performed before everybody's eyes, for everyone to see a black man be executed in your face, to reinforce some of the ideas of knowing your place. And you know what I mean? And so that white supremacy again is creeping in a twisted way, because then we're all together, but we're still watching this black man die. And it's a sacrifice, just like, other people who have been sacrificed in this sick little game we playing here on Earth called I Want to Control You. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway.
No, see, this all ties back to health and wellness, because our mental capacity to understand how we're being influenced is very important.
Okay, I also wanted to address that too, because very good question. I mean, very good
Segway. Or,
Segway, yes. Yeah, because it's high science. You know, they're using colors and texture and this and that. You know, God, Lord, they got them show Botched. Are you watching this stuff, y'all? I mean,
what is
Botched is about plastic surgery,
Oh,
but
okay.
trans, everything. The zoo, what you want to be, you know, come through. I mean, I'm not dissing their humanity, but just the show is it's an indication of what this country is willing to accept as viewing in what's going on here. It's a zoo. It definitely is a moral, ethical cluster fudge.
Well, you know, there's a cultural thing going on. Like I talked about the divisiveness, right, and how those are distractions. We have instances now. Other governments are governments, and I think governments in general lean towards totalitarianism if you leave them unchecked. So when I mention China, you know, for instance, I'm not putting them any better or worse, but when you look at TikTok, they have two different versions of TikTok I hear, and one version that because you know it's a Chinese app, we use it and we get what we get, but over there it's very curated, and that children have curfews; they can only be on it at a certain time, and then when they're scrolling, they're getting ratios of more educational content. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
That's beautiful. That's called culture.
Yeah, yeah. So I bring that up to say, like, there's intention on what is instituted and what is not. As we can see with a government like that, they have a certain homogeneity, if you will, because they're all Chinese. Not to say that they're all on the same program, but that's one box that checked, right?
Certainly. Yeah.
And over here we have a whole lot of influences, and then you have just the influence of money and just how that is motivation more than identifying as black or white or whatever.
Yeah.
And with that being said, our health and wellness is at stake because we continually are bombarded by things that are leading us to be consumers, right? And I know you talk a lot about changing our environment so that we can produce more love, produce more sovereignty, produce more interpersonal communication. Can you talk a little bit about your villages that you've been deeply studying and building for a while that I find so profound?
Okay, so I have a couple of books out, one of which right now I'm promoting is called Got Reparations, 21 Questions, 21 Answers. It's discussing the dialogue and also adding commentary through my journalism, and then offering suggestions of what to do next. For instance, one of the questions is the day after reparations. So that's happening right now. That project is ongoing. And then I have a couple of books about building modern day black towns, or, you know, little Wakandas, small Africa towns, wherever we are, as a wing to the reparations work. But I actually been doing that work before I did the reparations book, but I figured, well, shoot, this is the same work. So, you know, the idea though is sustainable community development for black families and communities, wherever we are in numbers, significant amounts, you know, like the Chinese open up a dry cleaner, you know, I'm just saying, not capping. I honor and respect different cultures and groups. But just like everybody else, you know, has, you know, areas where they can come together and build restaurants, and hey, you know, I go get my coffee here and I go get my bread there, and you know what I mean, and we do it locally. Local, hyper local means your people, your own folks. So, you know, the idea is called Ujamaa Villages, which is two books I wrote. Ujamaa meaning cooperative economics, and family. And so I did a coloring book for children and parents, and then also did a like a social book, like a book that, you know, sociologists, urban planners, developers could use as a reference. I have 2 masters in architecture and ecological design, and so, but I also am from Oakland, California, and I've been greatly influenced by the culture here. I'm black. You know, I do have white ancestry, which I'm, you know, it's all right. It's good. But I represent black, you know, voice, politics, reasoning, understanding. So my suggestion with my skills, my understanding, I grew up here. This is my culture. Is that black people look at, you know, the tradition of black towns that we had coming out of slavery, you know, the exodusters from Kansas and the black towns, Idlewilds, like the movie, like it's a real place, Rosewood, Allensworth, like out here in Fresno. We take those traditions, we look at what worked, and then we adjust. We say, well, shit, this worked. What was good about it, what wasn't good about it. But if we're going to stay black, we're going to keep doing a black dialogue. I mean, black health, you know, hey, is it healthy to want to be with each other and get with one another and, you know, love one another and be family without feeling pressured to go outside of that experience? But that is what I'm talking about, is intentional community development with an eye toward being green, sustainable, ecological, and a modernized approach on the drawing board of what that's going to look like. Right. And so I'm proposing that we build modern day black towns, intentional areas that we have all of the things, the institutions, the businesses that we would go spend our money on ordinarily. And instead of going over here and over there to they places, we got our own people who make clothes, who do, you know, make peanut butter and wipes and, you know what I mean, diapers and everything we go get from someone else, we turn it and internalize it. Why? Because we are saying, I value people who look like me. I value them so much that I'm willing to lend my trust, my respect, and my patronage to their creation, whatever they're here to deliver, even if it's just being in sales. If you're a black salesman, saleswoman, or distribution, black distribution, or you're on the creative side, or you're on the design side, whatever it is. We should be able to have thinkers who are bringing the ecological reality of being black in America. This goes back, man. I mean, we've been doing this. Like, black people, there's a brother named Nathaniel Hare, if you've heard of him. Okay? He started the Black Studies Department in San Francisco.
That's right.
Okay? But if you go peep, if you looked him up, he has an article on ecology and black people, and I was blown away. I still haven't absorbed the whole article. I was blown away on blacks in ecology, because I'm thinking, well, shit, ain't black folks wrote on this? Ecology is the key for us to understand our health in greater terms than even just living in Western urbanized realities.
Can you break down the semantics of the word?
Ecology.
Yes,
Yeah.
and its significance.
Ecology. The study of the science of the interdependent systems that work, biological systems that work on Earth. You know, it is a study of everything, including geography, geology, topography, physiology, biology, everything in a particular area. So if you want to know the ecology of an area, you're going to have to take in all of the variables. So an ecologist is looking at how all the pieces fit together. So why I'm saying I had an epiphany around when I received my master's of ecological design, because I had to study ecology. Well, I'm learning how ecology designs reality and applying it to architecture. So, but then I say, well, shit, you could use this same understanding and apply it socially, culturally, environmentally to a people. My people, black people. Well, dang. So then I went on a search. You know, I constantly am looking up new things and just trying to keep my mind, you know, going around new understandings. But it's just funny, as the saying goes, more things change, the more they stay the same. The brother Nathan Hare, he's 94. right now, still living with us. Ashe. This is 2023. Brother's still alive. His article is still there for people to absorb and read, and it's an impressive article about environment and how we live in an urban reality. Man, talking about health and wellness, brother. There was a report done called the Menhuam Report in 1968.
Okay.
And what it basically concluded is that urbanization of black people was like the worst thing that ever happened to us. Talking about health and wellness. Black people just living in white people's cities, because that's what they is. Ain't no black architect over the city. That ain't happening. Where? Come on, keep it 1,000. Maybe you was in the drawing room and you got some prestige because you did that over there. Okay. We're going to get a brother his props, sister her props. But the number of black architects and engineers is like less than 5%. It's hecka low.
That's super low.
So anyway.
Wow. Okay. The study of how everything deals with everything, basically.
Ecology.
Ecology.
Yeah, I had to go there. Long answer.
No, I'm glad you did. And shout out to brother Nathan Hare. Prayers up for that brother. I hope he's doing well.
Strong black man.
So that's beautiful, because for me, part of my health and wellness journey started from my early influences of seeing like my elders, like my auntie would have a lot of vitamins and stuff, and on the table she was a big follower of Dick Gregory and stuff, but also she was a nurse and actually worked with youth. She worked at the youth health center when she was a nurse there, and she grew up in West Oakland, and so that was near and dear to her. And she's traveled to Samoa and did work out there, and so I've seen that side of health. And then my grandma being super into herbs and stuff, and my dad, being influenced by the black Muslim culture when I was younger, and then just being influenced by like, okay, we're not gonna just eat whatever, like how to eat to live, and so he would always tell me, oh son, you don't eat pork, so those things were influenced. But then as I got older and started seeing my mom get tumors or cancer starting to hit my elders, I'm like, oh snap, like this is not good. Like I need to start shifting how I treat myself, and then I'm noticing how easier it was for me versus some of my peers because of where I live. Now I live in Oakland. I've always lived in Oakland, but part where I stay is like I wasn't too far from the health food store. Food Mill, was like 2-3 miles away. So I could hop on a bus. Yeah. I grew up off of High Street, and MacArthur. So in that area,
the same area.
Yeah.
I lived over there a little bit.
Yeah.
But, seminary.
Yeah, seminary. Come on. So it's an area where it's definitely, come on, we know that it's impoverished, but it's also right next to an area that's not, high, middle class and up. You got the hills and the flatland, literally. Right.
It's kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is kind of funny you say it, but it is kind of like that.
It's like that, and really? So I was able to just hop on the bus for less than 5 minutes and go to Food Mill, and it was a black man in there. Right. 100-year organization there, just giving, not giving, but selling health food, but it exposed me. Man. It exposed me to things, and then learning.
That's like you're privileged.
Yeah,
you were privileged.
I was privileged,
right.
And I could only buy a little bit in there, but just the exposure alone to know that if I feel this, I should get this.
Yeah, but they did have some cool little deals though.
Oh, shout out to my brother Opesanwo.
Opesanwo.
Yeah, that's your bro?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to have him on the line. He's came out to our shows and did a presentation. But
yeah, love that brother.
He gave me a lot of game when I went in there. So George Washington Carver is also a big influence of mine. I remember learning about him and just being like, oh, this brother used to talk to plants? So you talk about ecology,
oral history,
right?
Oral history.
I think trauma might have helped that brother actually unlock some of his gifts, right? Because the brother was traumatized at a young age, and
Talking about George Washington Carver.
Yeah, they castrated him. They took him away from his enslaved mother, kept him in his white family around. You know, they didn't want him procreating with the daughters, so they castrated him at a young age. But at the same time, this brother was a genius. You know, would sit with plants, and he said the plants would tell him how they should be used. God would speak to him. So I mean, to me, like this brother was like an Emotep of that time. You know,
I'm so glad you spoke on him. That's just I shade to brother Booker T. I mean George Washington Carver.
Yes.
I always got to say Booker T because they was a dynamo.
Yeah.
Dynamo.
Yeah,
But oh God, anybody out there listening, y'all gotta read up on this brother's life. George Washington Carver was a true alchemist, mystic, and God, I mean, phew, I can't imagine being castrated. Lord knows, I can't imagine that. But imagine the Munichs that sung in the choirs. They pretty much did that so that their voice would be high like this, and he talked like that. But perhaps that put him in a phase of, you know, obviously lack of testosterone, and it made him tune more into the frequency, the feminine frequency, which some people say quietly, potentially he was on the other side of things because of that situation. But, you know, you can't be mad. Look at the situation. He was traded for a horse. He was a slave. So, you know, and that's real shit, you know. But he was a mystic. He talked to his plants. My grandmother taught me that myself, to talk to the plants. And that's why I'm a gardener. Got a green thumb for sure. I've been growing all kinds of food. And so, gardening, touching nature. He would always, George Washington Carver, always have a flower in his lapel, a different kind. You know, it was like an education. You know, at the same time, you know, you're looking at this beautiful flower and it's changing the vibration and the atmosphere. I used to do the same thing when I went to architecture school. I would just like, you know, I was adding all those elements in, plus Imhotep, you know, plus Ptah Hotep, and all of these beautiful ancestors that we have. And that's why the oral history, Lord, keeping it alive. If you're this, and this, unless you're a griot, you know, you're not going to remember certain stories. You're going to remember the most influential people that are in your life as you are. So I'm saying this why? Because look, if you're going to be black, you got to choose black. And black health, look, read Lila Africa. Read about some of his stuff. You know, melanin. There's something to this. And, you know, I got it. I'm high yellow, but you know what I'm saying? My black father was a dark-skinned black man. So I have the melanin inside of me, genetically speaking. And I know that's probably why I choose how I walk. You know, it's a vibration, truly, that is tuned into me, and I tuned into it. But
yes, sir. One of them was telling me about that as well, because there was like an Oakland hearing that they were doing. I was a part of a couple meetings, and then I heard about the school doing something too. But I would like to learn more about that.
So they have this reparations initiative. I just downloaded it this morning. Elder sister in the community let me know about it. By the way, Princeton or Harvard, one of them, I think it might be Princeton, has a $100 million reparations package that they are grant to use for black scholars. So y'all out there, research that. One of these people. I'll find the information though, but Black Thriving Plan, that's what it's called. OUSD put together something called the Black Thriving Plan. And go download it. Look at it. Get the information for what these people who have been appointed to solve our problems are putting out. It's so important that we get key information about that things are going to affect us when we're living in the area, to know. Okay. Oh, this is about Detroit. This is about a health index that they use. Anyway, the Black Thriving Plan is what it's called, and
Black Thriving Plan.
yeah, and so their objectives is like they want to ensure that black students are getting their needs met. They're getting access to, tutoring, um, healthcare, basic things that allow them to be safe, security, transportation. Not having no money. You know what I mean, to make it to school, or look into it. I would say it's very elementary. And it's because a lot of these task force that are being put together, like even the California Commission on Reparations, they're all brand new.
Oh yeah, so they don't have the history or the work put in.
Yeah, there's just, they basically are generation one of reparations thinkers, but not really, because clearly black people been putting this idea out for over 100 years. But in terms of this government taking it serious, for dialogue and progress, a lot of it, I'm gonna tell y'all, because you sit in a laboratory and you pull your hair and you think about stuff. You know what I mean? It's a lot of it is ceremonial. So could be reason with me, brothers and sisters, and folks out there, and blog land, podcast land. Black people are the only ones that can really bring some peace and happiness to ourselves. You have all the money in the world, all the land in the world, and none of it is going to do anything to help the whole quality of black togetherness. So yeah.
Important that we focus on the ecology of our culture and focus on how we can come together. And I think culture is a very high focus because it has influence over the youth. And so we need to be very aware. Earlier in the conversation, you talked about cleaning, right?
Yes, sir.
And how cleanliness is next to godliness, and that we all have a little bit of dirt. And that dirt, if you are self-aware, can help another person clean out their closet. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say our culture of hip-hop is, it is a place where you can speak knowledge. Each one teach one, It is a place where you can share your experiences. That doesn't mean all your experiences are sunshine and rainbows. So we understand that there is a reality to rap that is undeniable in terms of it being a reflection of the environments that we come from. But however, the intentionality of the music that we create is upon the responsibility of that is on every person that grabs the mic. Like, what is your intention? What are you hoping to bring about with this vibration that you're putting on there? And so I wanted to ask you about your influences that have led you to this journey of health and wellness, specifically from hip hop, because maybe we can help some of our newer generation get some guidance on what has already been out there. Hip hop is 50 years old.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that question, because it is connected to our culture of resistance. Basically, hip hop didn't start out as it is now. Clearly, it was counterculture. At one time it was underground. It wasn't a thing. It was like, what you doing over there rapping? You know what I mean? Like you in the alley shooting dice, with a 40 or something. That was the association of hip hop. It was kind of like playing the dozens over there joking and shit, trying to put together a rhyme, And but as it became more associated with pop culture, that's when it became railroaded and took into another route. But then in the beginning, though, it was real, keepers of the culture, if you will, griots that was representing. Like they was coming with rap. They was letting you know this is how rap is. This is rap. You know what I'm saying? And not necessarily trap or all the stuff we hearing now, which is just putting some words together and making people nod their head. But there was more of a message. You know, it was like art for art's sake. It was really art was more spiritual. It's like I'm gonna use this music to say black power or fight the power, or you know, you're not gonna hold me down, or you know, or I'm gonna come up. You know, in life, you know, I'm gonna get what I want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but at first, the foundation of hip hop was black resistance culture.
That's right.
At the end of the day, I don't care if you got Vanilla Ice or Eminem or 6ix9ine or you know all of these other folks that have attached themselves to this method of art, this art form. But just like blues and jazz, reggae, you know, ragtime, you know, drums, rock and roll. Black people have influenced it all. Talking about rhythm and vibration. Black people we represent the fundamental archetype laws of the universe. You know, that's what we are, black people. I'm saying black people now. I'm not trying to discredit others, but I'm saying that we did create these cultures, these ways. You know what I'm saying? So something more of honoring and paying homage to the originators and authentic, you know, people who brought it forward, who brought this understanding of relating to reality through rhythm. Like, hey, this getting me through the day, you know, speaking to me, you know, it's talking to me. So it's helping you calibrate your day, your kundalini, really, on another level. You know, through wordplay, it's like you edifying and reaching and abstract and allegory. You know, it's allowing you to orient your thinking in a rhythmic way that allows you to move like that. It's the law of association. It's actually the first law of magic.
Okay.
There it is. There's the secret. I gave it up. But you know, but truly, that's ecology.
Wow.
That's ecology. You know what I mean? We basically out of bad came good. Out of effed up came G'd up. You know, it's like, you know, out of raw sewage was the rose, you know, raw soul. You know what I mean? The rose that came up out the concrete.
Shout out Pac,
That's God.
I
That's spirit. You know what I mean? That's really how, you know, that's why don't worry, be happy, you know, is really applicable in this situation. But see, you come up with a song like that, then you remember it, because then how he sung it. Here's a little song I wrote, and he sound like a Jamaican. That's a part of hip hop too. It's spoken word. You know, dude's a poet.
Yeah. A lot of the Rastas talk about that word, sound power. You know?
Sound power, man. You know, and soul power too. You know what I mean? Sound and soul. As a matter of fact, singing was probably the only method that blacks had where white people really weren't questioning it in the beginning. Like, you know, obviously singing in another language was an issue. But when black people just start saying, Jesus, Lord, you know, and just, then we just was doing, oh, you know. They say, well, they over there just singing and shit, you know, they just singing and, you know what I mean? But
they playing with vibrations, though.
That part. So when I hit this note or when I hit that, it's hitting you like, oh. Like, you know what I mean? Like
scientists,
vibration.
Method, bringing a
vibration.
A rhythmic scientific method.
But consider, family, it's self-healing. Because then you coming up with a salve, you know, in which to soothe your soul. Like "A Love Supreme" by John Coltrane. That song, you know. So it's like all of these artists that brought a vibration to a people during a certain time. They spoke. They were the doctors. The sound doctors, like Funk Master Doc, you know, Redman, really, to you know, help you get a healthy analysis of your whole situation. You know what I mean? I mean, man, word metaphor. It's like, you know, mantras, affirmations.
You say something repeatedly, you start to create that magic,
reality.
That reality, you know, and
it's true science, the law of association. is the first law of magic. We got to remember that, we were the first associators, the black man and black woman. And, well, you want to call us from outer space, well, whatever, because there's a lot of the cultures speak on that too.
Shout out to the Dogon.
Shout out to the Dogon. Shout out to the Nubians, Taseti, Tamari, the Zimbabwe, South Africa, what was misnomeringly called Adam's calendar, which, goes back to 100,000 years. So we had a knowledge of the stars and all of this stuff, and, it's all still there. You know what I mean? We all are, it's still in us. All of the answers to our problems are within us too.
They
talk about, so singing is like, it's a healthy thing. Rapping, singing, expression. But speaking, about the hip hop question, Dale Jones, Ashe, he's an ancestor now, wrote several series of books about black music and black struggle. And one of them was called Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where he basically, talks about the music industry, but he talks about how Hollywood and the powers that be will use our music against us. And we will create zombies of people based on our rhythms and our sensualities and genuflexing. And that's why, they got a twerk church. Instead of it being incorporated into a fertility dance, now they got the twerk church. I'm just saying, we got these genres and like, it's what I want to do. Okay, you want to twerk for God. All right, I'm just saying, I'm not mad. I'm just saying, but at the same time, come on now. We don't need
What's the intention here?
Yeah, we don't need a twerk church. The little kids don't need to be twerking to God.
Right.
Nah.
Right.
I get the dancing. That's great. Do it. Hump the ground. I'm just saying, but let it be a healthy intention.
Yeah.
Like, well, can we talk about Tantra and it being healthy? That, Tantra, do you believe it or not, you all? It's always been so disassociated. Tantra is Buddhism. So go look it up. And so, but like, we're all over the place with, the question of culture and hip hop and all of this stuff. But like I say, it's all in us.
Yeah.
It's in us.
It's in us, not on us.
You know what I mean? And we have to get more back to self-referral, reflection, talking about hip-hop in the beginning, because we used it as a way in which to project our consciousness. And then it got coerced, as I was saying, with all this inner dialogue that I've just been having about that question. So, yeah, the 80s and the 90s were a good time for hip-hop, but after that, it really just became a multi-billion-dollar, franchise business.
Money grab.
It got out of control. And so that's why I see like Andre 3000, he's like retiring. He like, nah, I ain't doing this shit. This is hella weak. It's nothing creative here no more. You want to hear this and that. You don't want to hear. And that's why I like that last album he did with the hand clapping and shit, where he was just, playing the guitar, singing off tune, really just folk. It was really just real. Like, okay, like Lauryn Hill, where she kind of took her thing, you know what I mean? Unplugged, So it was a great expression of black artistry to say, we need to bring this back to just why we was doing this in the first place. Because black people say, we're just speaking on hip hop, because we're talking about black folks too, but we could say everybody at one point would sit around a campfire and sing a song. One person could sing hella good. Well, then they sang the song, the call to prayer for Islam. Hey, you have dudes sing it. He be singing, man. Be crying and stuff when he sang, or, when sis sang, it's like, Yeah, I want that. I don't want to hear something in an audio thing. I want the live, local talent. You know, and we were more enthused with that around us.
Yeah.
So localizing our lives, our reality became a global thing with hip hop. Black culture became globalized and marketed and sold, and now see everybody thinks black people should be like this. But then when black people come out like another way, you know, other people
are changed.
we definitely are changed. You know, we're on the cusp of it. We are calculus. You know what I mean? Again, we are the laws of the universe, fundamentally speaking. We represent that. What we do, the creations that we create represent the way to address our situation.
Well, let me ask you this. So, because brother, you can go deep, and I want to know, like,
keep me close.
How did hip hop take you on this journey?
Okay.
Of health and, I mean, brother, you said you got 2 PhDs,
two masters,
masters,
which is
two
equivalent
masters?
of a PhD.
Okay,
Yeah.
you have 2 masters, and that is not a small feat.
Oh,
you know
bro.
what I'm saying?
Hey,
so
I'm the barefoot architect.
So
That's what I like to say.
It was something you had on repeat while you were studying.
Yeah.
You some song or some artist got you through some of the long study sessions that kept you on your journey. That reaffirmed who you are. Could you let us into some of those influences?
Yeah, Brother J from X Clan. I was speaking on him earlier. KRS-One, Ascari X, Paris, Conscious Daughters from here. You know what I'm saying? Tupac, Andre 3000. You know, I like a little T.I. even. You know, but Goody Mob, all them cats was solid. Black Thought, Rakim. You know, a lot of them cats, Nas, you know, all of them cats is nice, man. Some, you know, you never really heard of. Back in the day might be Sean T from East Palo Alto. Black Superman was another one. What was his name?
Okay. Khalil.
Yeah, but thinkers more so. Too Short. Yeah, I grew up in Oakland, so I heard some Too Short. Too Short, by the way, is a conscious cat. You know, he just
The brother's
he tells it through bitch. You know, not bitch talk, but cursing and
he takes a character and he tells street tales through it.
Right. But he uses street talk. I'm not gonna say bitch talk, but respect Too Short. You know what I'm saying? But he uses all the bad words and shit to tell you what's up. And it's clever. He's very talented, intelligent black man. So, you know, I would say, like, see, E.S.O.teric, oh, God, why did he say him? Listen, y'all, E.S.O.teric is my favorite rapper of all time. Sorry, I can't. Nothing time, of all time.
E.S.O.teric is a wordsmith. I mean, he creates his own words.
And I love Too Short, too, but Gooch be told. I mean,
there's something in the water in Vallejo. Because if you think about it, you got E.S.O.teric and Mac Dre. Mac Dre himself.
Oh, he lived in Vallejo?
Yeah, the Crest.
Oh.
And Mac Dre is also, when you think of just creativity, high creative, like Andre 3000 is a highly creative artist.
Right.
E.S.O.teric is a highly creative artist.
Geniuses,
yeah,
man.
Bro,
see, and that's now you talking about taking hip hop, like, wow, like the Bay Area became a hotbed for that. But, like, you see, you got to go back to when people first started putting their stuff out and really hear what they saying. And that's when I really rap. You know, there's a difference between rap and hip hop.
Yes, there is.
See, rap was first. Hip hop was second. You know what I mean? Cass was rapping. Hip hop wasn't first. Rap was first.
Okay.
Cause see, Rapper's Delight. Go there. Let's go on the history. Listen to that whole thing. That he's a historian. He's pushing culture.
Yeah.
But you could also dance to it too, and probably not hear a word he's saying.
And still have you a good time.
You know.
Yeah.
Which a good artist will do it just like that too. And that's why I say with 40, Too Short, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of these cats was like, well, shit, I could do that. Even Jay-Z said he dumbed down his lyrics. He could have been more conscious. But he said, I need to create some booty shake music and make you think later about it.
See, that sounds like a decision of scarcity. You know what I'm saying? Like to make that choice, like what does that say about where
It's industrialization.
we are as a people and the power that we have in this country to where we're allowing an inanimate object that is money to control our creativity? You know?
Yeah,
Because
it's the business mindset and infrastructure that's in this country, which has to do with the way Europeans look at life. Whites, see, they just like this. Hey, people moving their booties, sell that. Now, when you start talking about fight the power, well, shit, that gets white people scared. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about them being defeated. Why? I mean, come on, clearly. So they're going to have the music. That's why Eazy-E, the meeting of Eazy-E at the White House, that's significant. Come on. Just don't brush that off. Eazy-E went to the White House. Feel me? Now, I like to say, hey, Cube might run for president. I'm saying this on tape. So you can go back and say, my partner said this. Look, Ice Cube may run for president. Be surprised. Kanye's kind of like fooling with it, with the Trump thing in the back, but But yeah, the business structure of this country is associated tied to white ideas of how to make things happen. So industrialization, franchising, cookie cutter, package, sell that. They only listening to booty stuff right now, or they only listening to, I'm about to, jump off a cliff right now, or this one over, and what it is it's marketing. It's all tied into now the name brands, with kind of car you drive, what kind of lifestyle you're living. They have marketed you to go buy stuff, consume stuff, just based on the fact that they groom all these artists now to just do this. They're professional magicians luring you in to live a certain way. Now, I like J. Cole because, he kind of dabbles in both worlds. He can walk barefoot and ride a bike with some shorts and nothing. Or he can go ride a Maybach if he want to. Right. And so I like that because, see, I like marble floors, but I'll take some bamboo floor. You know what I mean? And, hey, it's what it is. It's just you got to have a value and appreciation of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Period. You got to see gold in your life. Value the moment. All you got is the moment.
I love that you said that, and I feel like valuing yourself, it sounds so cliche, but then on the other side of it, it could sound so egotistical. But in reality, if you are able to make that truth a centerpiece in your life, the decisions that you make will follow suit, including what you put into your body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, over time. And so that's the science, got to get into science of body. God, I wish, I want to just say that when I finally realized that black people gave yoga, meditation, and dietary living, I hate to say the word dietary, but eating instructions around what's healthy, like biblical diet, foods in the Bible. Go look at that. There's books on that too. And they're in there intentionally. You should look at that. Books, foods of the Bible.
Black seed oil, black cumin. That's
cranberry.
Cranberry.
Yeah, grapes. All that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is dates in there?
I think so. I think so. But yeah. Wait, remind me what we're speaking about.
Because you talked about how valuing self is such an important thing, and I was tying
yoga.
That to,
okay, yoga, meditation. When I realized that we black people, black men and women who look like us, me and you, black people, come on, let's keep it real, gave these ideas to the world. Okay, we created peaceful civilizations by prescribing particular ways to live. Vegetarianism. Oh God. If Americans pledged to vegetarianism, let's just say 40% or 50% of the water would be spared, because 50% damn near goes to meat production in this country. Now think about it, the electricity and the water that we use to flush down the toilet. I'm just saying, vegetarianism, okay, lifestyle choice. Probably wouldn't need big toilets. We wasn't eating all this meat. All these big old pipes, so. But I want to say, just healthy awareness comes from your culture, black people. It comes from, understanding that we actually created systems, laws of eating, rules. Don't eat this. Don't do this. Don't do that. This is not a religion. If you do this, guess what's going to happen? This is going to happen. If you don't do this, this is going to happen. If you don't stretch, if you don't cultivate peace of mind, intentionally stop, meditate, pray, dance, sing, rap, make a joyful noise, you're going to go crazy. You're going to lose your mind. You're not going to be right in the head. Something's going to happen. You're going to snap because you're not dancing. You're not singing. You're not doing things that we realize, I feel good when I do this. I want to do more of this. And so Tantra, which is Buddhism, incorporated a lot of things you'd be surprised. Obviously, being naked or wearing see-through clothes, drinking beer, playing music, singing, but there was balance there. So everything was available. Like, hey, do what you want to do, but you're not going to be over in a pile of cocaine, in mushroom land. Come on, man, too many shrooms, bruh. Come on back. Come back. You're gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 10 toes down.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. We need you back. Too much weed, too much this, too much that, Breathe. Get your breath right. You know what I mean? Drink your water. Stay hydrated. Don't dry out. Eat foods that give you water, give you liquids that are not preserved.
We love watermelon for a reason. You feel
We
me?
love watermelon and apples.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're kind of synonymous. Anyway, just being funny.
Yeah.
But we prescribed. Okay, Ayurveda. You familiar with Ayurveda? Ayurveda is
Indian medicine.
Indeed.
Yes.
So, but come on.
Turmeric.
Now let's go to Indus Kush Valley, Ethiopian, black, Chinese medicine, black. We did all this. Ayurveda is black. Don't think it's I'm not trying to count Indians and Hindus. Love y'all. But I'm just saying I did that because black people have this idea. Like black people didn't have an influence on prescribing scientific methods in which to heal your body, exercises and techniques. Hello? To make you healthier. We just don't jump around in a circle and shake our butts. I'm just saying, we have intelligent people that come from us that prescribe methods and ways on how to heal thyself.
And I think that's important to learn that history of that influence. Why is it that we can't find a lot of written history on what we have contributed to the world? We see the pyramids. That's beautiful. We hear about the Dogon. We know Ethiopia is also a very a place that has contributed a lot to Christianity and a lot to Jewish faith. But we don't always hear these connections raised, or we don't read about them from close to primary source. But we hear about the Chinese, we hear about the Indian, and they have a lot of documentation of their techniques and their philosophies.
Yeah. But
why is that?
Peep game. It's not theirs. It's ours. And that's what the problem is. They keep saying it's theirs. Now, they have faces that duplicated works. Ask any Chinese historian, where did Zen come from? And they're going to tell you India. Okay? India, where is Zen come from in India? Southern India, where the Ethiopians came from. The Indus Kush Valley, the Ganges, southwest, what they would say.
I got to do my research.
Yeah. Okay. But now who were the people of the Indus Kush Valley? You know what I'm saying? That brought Zen. I mean, they called it something else. They didn't call it Zen. They had another language, but they would refer to people who sat under the tree or people who were old with great white hair, wise people from the mountains, people who just sat in the Himalayas all day, all night in the cave, whatever. Not cave like in Europe, but, solitude and quiet and reflection in nature. Oftentimes with having snakes around them. I mean, real, dreadlocks down to the floor. Real griots that live 200, 300 years old because they slowed their breathing down, their heart. They did exercises. I mean, strenuous stuff, you know what I mean, that allowed them to master self. That's why they would say, know thyself. You could master your health. You could master, a lot of things. A lot of black health problems stimulate from our stress. Cancer, diabetes, heart disease, lung disease, everything, a lot of it has to just was being stressed. So, but to answer your question, for one, it's not those people's history. If you put it back in Ethiopia and black people, and you can see Ethiopia was in America too. They was here too. Black people was here and there. We circumnavigated the entire globe. Okay, black monuments. The further down you go, the blacker it gets. Okay, so you're gonna see black faces everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but I'm just saying. So the philosophy that we gave, though, pre-flood, Ayurvedic, that goes back beyond the Sphinx. Feel me? Sphinx go back at least 20,000, maybe even longer. Could be 60,000, depending on when that Leo cycle came around, because you got the great cycle, the Leo, okay? Talking about that. That's how you kind of configure, plus the flood, plus some extra. But we basically developed healing techniques like, Reiki. That's why you see a lot of times in Egypt they're doing this. That's Reiki. They use the Ankh. Oftentimes it's an oscillator. It is the engineer's marvel. The Ankh. It's the key. It's an oscillator. Imagine blowing a bubble. Okay? That geometry, that shape is creating a conduit of energetic interface. It is a no moving parts device that we developed 200,000 years ago. An instrument of health. The Ankh, the Dje, and the Was were all instruments that we used in prescribing medicine. Go look it up. We had instruments, we had tools, different than white people, different than technology. It's an engineer's greatest ambition to create machines that don't break down. And as we like to say in the engineering world, an engine that has the less moving parts, the better.
Yeah, I've heard of that concept with solid state drives. Those are hard drives that don't have moving parts that last longer.
Right.
They're faster.
And like, non-cylinder motors, I don't know what the term for it is called. It skips my mind right now. But motors that are made with less moving parts that work basically, listen to me, passive energy. It's a geometric shape that works off the energy based on the material, the shape, what you can do with it, all of that stuff. We thought about that. You feel me? We came up with these ideas. It became metaphysical. It became another level of understanding. If you've ever worked with an Ankh before, have you? Have you ever used an Ankh?
I can't say that I have.
Okay, good. Yeah. That's honest. Think about the prongs, the tuning forks, yes. Okay? And then apply it to the Ankh as well. Okay, and that sometimes they were hollow. They would use sound with those Ankhs. You hold it, okay, and like a cowbell, bong, right? Boom, 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 boom. So you could use it there. You could also use it energetically because we're dealing with invisible rays, invisible vibrational rays, not light rays, not sound waves, microwaves, gamma rays, radio waves. And you can use that instrument as a conduit for healing, for intentionalizing your consciousness through that conduit and create change like mirror, mirror on the wall. Yeah.
That was based on Ankh magic, or
Yeah.
the science
Think
of
about
Ankh?
it. Folklore, yes.
Okay. What's the
And
connection?
oftentimes the Ankhs had mirrors.
Oh.
And in Kemet, you would find the Ankhs, and the mirrors were made out of Ankhs.
Oh, so you speak into the mirror, this Ankh can now resonate that energy and magnify it and send it back to you.
Like an oscillator, like a boop, 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 boop,
Got you. Wow.
that part.
Come on, y'all.
So combine sound with the material clearly, because you're talking about pitch octave, okay? Because you get an octave too.
Yeah.
Then you get a vibration.
Right.
Okay, and then you get an intentionality of consciousness through whatever heat of thought you're putting out. So now you can be an angry heat, or you could be a calm heat. You could be a healing heat. But this is invisible forces that we begin to talk about sitting around with just a little cloth on in the dark. So you start to get at the essence of, man, what really matters, man. And one of the main things for a baby is sound. Like, oh God, if they hear something wrong, or if it's loud, or sound has a lot to do with balance in life. So
Right. If you're sick, your voice is gonna be different. You're too nasally, or when you it's a major teller of balance being off in your body.
Right.
How your voice sounds, or
and so that's why understanding our history and how we apply knowledge to our situations. See, white people have this way based on their disposition, their temperament. Marimba Ani, who wrote the book Yurugu, talks about the asili. The asili. Okay, asili in Swahili actually means nature or spirit. So it doesn't mean nature like environment. It means the nature of asili. Okay, listen to the word. It sounds like cell and also silly. So, there can be a dual application there where you can, tap into the character of something.
it reminds me almost of Orisha as well. Like not fully,
something like that.
but
Yeah.
just like
Power.
personifying nature.
But what she said with the asili is that white people's spirit, their nature, doesn't allow them to use certain technologies in healthy or productive ways. And I don't think it's racist, because when you look at the results, now it doesn't mean everything, because then some white people have created brilliant stuff. So let's just give credit to that where credit's due. Okay, just on a human level. But what has been publicized and put out there, you know what I mean? Hey, white people got shut down too by their own people. Feel me? Look at Tesla. Shit, Nikola Tesla. He had heck of ideas, man. He died broke. Marcus Garvey died broke. Alone. W.D. Du Bois died alone. I think he died alone. Maybe he did.
No, I actually.
He had some family. He got buried in Liberia, though. He was buried in Liberia.
Was it Liberia? I thought it was Ghana.
Or Ghana, one of them.
It was Ghana because I visited his memorial.
Africa, No, I'm scared. Okay, so Ghana, yeah.
But no, I feel where you're going, though. Visionaries often are not respected and appreciated at the time that they are alive. They often get their just dues later.
Right.
And you're saying that in the white community, they even will utilize that tactic against their own. Because it doesn't gel with whatever direction that they're trying to go in, and a lot of people in power tend to be, of that persuasion. Not everybody, but I see what you're saying.
I mean, okay, bottom line, y'all, it's greedy butts of the world. Greed. Greed is the greatest thing. I got a book here I just want to share with y'all for the record. I'll be reading. It's called the oldest book in the world, The Teachings of Ptah-hotep. Ptah-hotep, the oldest book in the world, believe it or not. Some of the oldest writings ever found and combined and put together. But what it says in there is all the vices to be aware of, on guard of. Is greed. And man, I swear you could sum up a lot of problems with greed. I mean, health, everything. Say, well, what you doing? Or you do this too much. You do that too much. You don't do this enough. You know, because it's extremism. Again, not balanced. And so balance, that's what we talk about. I often talk about one of the main emphasis that they always said in Egypt was ma'at. Follow ma'at. Be balanced. No matter what. Because then at some point, man, go look at some of these monks in China. They look like the starving Ethiopians they used to show us in the 80s. I'm talking about bony, couldn't bust a grape. But they're chanting all day and breathing. And Lord, if it came time down, let's see, look, the Dalai Lama, he is not in his temple. He's in seclusion right now because the Tibetan government ran up on them. And said, y'all ain't doing this shit no more. This is why do y'all know this? This is the issue in Tibet. They done ran the Dalai Lama out of his temple. He don't be up in there. He's on location. He moving around. People love him because he promotes peace, but he can't go home. So, well, what's the issue there? Now they're going to talk about he's kissing a little kid. You know what I'm saying? And, well, we could talk about that. That potentially is a way to transfer knowledge. Let's just say that people just don't understand. I'm not going to condone pedophilia. No, I'm not with that. But about
More nuanced than what we saw.
Yeah, they try to make him seem like he's a pedophile. Or I
didn't like what it looked to me.
Yeah, it didn't look good. Okay, bottom line, they made it look bad. Whatever it was, it could be a secret way to, transfer something, to the next Dalai Lama. You know what I'm saying? And really, ain't nothing they put out gonna look good anyway. They ain't gonna tell you the truth behind it. That'd be some real. You kiss a little baby boy on the cheek, But so and even little babies, I've kissed my children's sons on the lips when they're babies. But not like I'm tonguing them down, So that's my kids. Yeah. They little babies. They precious.
If somebody understands what that was, leave it in the comments. Explain it. I thought it was wild. I wasn't a fan of watching that. I was like, I don't know what he on.
I ain't condoning it,
but I
bro.
hear
I'm
what you're
just
saying
that
there is. We don't fully understand what he's about because we're not even in that.
They
culture.
in touch with the Tibetans. They are in touch with some ancient knowledge.
I will give them that. They are.
Yeah, and old ways of being able to live and be. And they do yoga. They do the vegetarian. They're a monastery society. Monks. And they some bad monks, and bad meaning good. You know what I mean? In terms of the things that they prescribe, they're active. They ain't just all of them are not just sitting around. When they were active, put it like this, some of them are bony as hell and they need to get some exercise in. But the ones that are in tow with true Tibetanism and, ism, the understandings that they have brought through Buddhism and Zen, that's what it is. They're in Tibet.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? But the understandings of balance is what we're talking about here, is that at some point the monks have to come out the temple and come amongst the people, because then the people need you. They need your vibration. They need to know that you're one of them. They can relate. And so you should know how to fight a little bit. You should know how, to come out of character a little bit for the sake of balance. You feel me? You say, well, I might have to give a little blood. Here you go. Well, that's kind of out of character, man. I don't give blood away. like that. But, you know what I'm saying? Here, there. Health is about balance. Let's say this. Because then somebody say, you need a shot of gin. Gonna get you a drink, man. Here go a beer.
Yeah.
You know, Lord, you're so dang uptight and tense, and you know what I'm saying? There's different prescriptions for different situations, you know, so I'm not gonna say, you know, but how about this? Let's just talk about it because we're here on a blog and this is real talk. How about being naked? Your etheric body, not being so clothed all the time. So maybe you need naked time. That's not
sexual at all.
Yeah. That's just, and I'm going to tell you what, we're talking about this. Being naked makes you more psychic. Let me tell you. Just walk around naked one day if you can. In your own house, if you got a chance. Just be bucket naked. But feel the effects. And, you know, you're going to have some self-control. Because you're like, yeah, I like, hey, I'm in my birthday suit. But it's healthy. Okay? And keep it on the health. So you don't run outside and streak. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, end up answering the door, you know what I mean? You know, with a trench coat on or something. You know, I'm just saying. Balance. That's the key.
Balance.
It's got to be key. Balance is the key. Balance is the key. We always must come back to balance. White man must reckon with balance. Black man must reckon with balance. Every person, woman, man, and child must reckon with balance. Balance is the rule.
You just, that last few sentences you just said reminded me of the medicine wheel.
The Buddhists.
Okay.
Or
no.
Natives.
I believe the Hopi Indians.
Absolutely. Speak on it. Hopi.
Native Americans or
Navajo.
indigenous.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not sure which people it was birthed from, but I was explained to it by a woman, Chilean woman, and she's like First People, so you know she's super into her culture, which was refreshing because I didn't know a lot about
South America.
Yeah,
right.
You know.
Heck yeah.
And so she was just teaching
tell
me,
us.
and she was saying, so the colors represent the people of the earth, and every person or every group of people have their element that they are responsible for. And I don't recall each one, but I do remember black people were the water and white people were the fire. And
very, very consistent with most people's prescription, yes.
And basically she was saying that when it is out of balance, every person has their time on top. Every group of people have their time at top. Right now, it is the white person's time at top. And that is,
I thought it was the black person.
Hey, in our mind, right? But in the macro balance, this is how it just goes in a cycle. Right. And every time, if that it is mishandled, there is a cost that all people pay.
In terms of just keeping the knowledge, you know, maintaining the balance,
your responsibility,
the balance.
And I
truly,
thought that was so profound because she said there's many layers even above that. It doesn't just represent that, but it's like that one shape and those colors. It's fundamental.
Like you could use all those colors to make other colors. Yeah, they're the fundamental foundation. Yeah,
it's the 4 seasons. It's the 4 directions. It's all these things and.
Yeah, that's the beauty about esoteric knowledge too, is that it's so encoded and multi-layered, you know, and that's artful. It's spiritual, it's artful, it's healthy. To be able to braid someone's hair and tell a story. That's so dope. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you know, like sing a song, you know, while you're harvesting a particular crop, which reminds you of a particular story, which reminds you of particular, you know, life lessons, while you just picking some beets or picking some turnips. Then you got another song when you're picking this and you got another song. And it makes you feel good. And, you know, the vibration when you're picking it, it's like, oh, all of that stuff does matter. How you cook the food, if you cook it, how you prep it, your relationship with the food. That's why I say black people need to go back to gardening and agriculture. That will change. See, the first culture is agriculture. That's right. Many of the folklore and stories are about food and animals and seasons and, you know, particular stars in the sky, fundamentally. That's health, too, clarity. We asked the question, well, why can't we get ourselves, you know, kind of like, you know, in a certain way? And like I said, the business infrastructure, but it's also, again, this whole story, we don't have the whole story. We don't have the whole story. Again, Lord, if we knew that we originated all this stuff, that would be the story. Runoka Rashidi did a good job trying to do that.
Rest in power.
Yeah, rest in power. Ashe, Runoka Rashidi, big up. We love you, brother.
We love you.
He brought a lot of knowledge and direction, like concrete, hard evidence of Black presence in all of these areas that we think other people did. Martial arts, like I say, meditation, esoteric understandings about past lives, many lives, Buddhism, the beliefs of the Buddha, which go back to hello, Ptah, Buddha. So we're not being, see, and it's something like that, how I just said that shows you. And I'm going to tell you, the attributes of Ptah and Buddha, same, lotus flowers, same, thrice, same. I mean, three, it's the same with a different name. Buddha, Ptah, Ptah.
So I know we could go deeper. I might have
know.
to bring you back for part 2, man, because I know we didn't went way into this, and I want to make sure that I'm keeping it in a bite size.
Yeah, it's all good. We can remix it.
So this was Herbals and Verbals. This was Verbal Apothecary Podcast. God, my brother Menhuam. You know what I'm saying? And this brother has came and blessed us with his perspectives on health and wellness.
My
and
book.
Yes.
Got reparations. Go ahead and get that book.
Please do.
If y'all can see that one time.
Yeah.
21 questions, 21 answers. You know, I'm promoting this now. Go get it.
Go
You
get
feel
it.
me? Food for thought.
And yeah, I appreciate you, brother, for coming on the platform. You know, and that's what we do, y'all. We have great conversations in hopes to bring more health and wellness to our community. So I see y'all again. Peace.
I got that CMOS, baby, call me a CMOS, baby. Do that body good like CMOS, baby. I'm a leader, I'ma take you to the treetop, baby. I care about your health, did you hydrate lately? I got that CMOS, baby, call me a CMOS, baby. Do that body good like CMOS, baby. I'm a leader, I'ma take you to the treetop, baby. I care about your health, did you hydrate lately?
Let's just start with your name. Who are you and what's the name of your business?
Okay, my name is Annie Flores. My business is the Fungi Friends Foundation, so we're building a foundation of different people that are excited about the fungi for health and wellness. Definitely looking at health and wellness. We want to have our psyche good, and we want to have like our bodies good, so we're also working with things like lion's mane, but also, you know, working with our medical mushrooms to make sure that everybody knows how to grow their own medicine. That is our foundation's like main purpose, our mission is to make sure that you guys can grow your own, so that way nobody has to worry about trying to find something from somebody else. We got enough information that almost anybody can grow anything in any space.
That's very powerful. Can you talk a little bit about your journey to get to this point where you are helping people to grow their own mushrooms? Like I don't come across